Hi guys and gals, this is H here. Just trying to share something that I found out and managed to science out a little while ago through a pure bit of luck. What I'm doing now is breeding the gutchas, and as it's showing, the production doesn't matter. So I've got all the females lined up, all on mating ready to go, and I just move the male up and then put him on mating. The new settings is fantastic. But as you see, they're all different production. The production for the element is totally random. Now you literally just turn him on, get him mating, and a little while later the babies pop out. Now what I'm looking for at the moment is a male. I've got a female, and what I want to do is optimize that element production by having pairs. So I've got a male and female both producing dust at an optimized sort of level. Each crystal gives you up to 180 dust per crystal, and you get a crystal for every 20 food or so that they consume. So that's a lot of dust, a lot of element, and you fill your turrets up with elemental shards. You can produce anything you want without having to go through all the stress of farming bosses and so on. Once you farm those bosses the first time and get your engrams, everything's sweet. If you're a small tribe or you're on a PvP server and it's hard to do boss fights because people interfere, just being able to find the time to be able to do it, it's a major pain. Being able to produce the element without all that stress is one of the greatest additions to the game, I think, so far. Now that one's just not passwording with the mating. It's annoying me a little bit, but the big trick with everything is basically with breeding, you want to have one male and lots of females. So any male that doesn't have the dust production, I'll be killing, sorry to say. All those a bit squeamish might want to turn away. But all the females, I'll keep them and add them to the breeding line. Initially I bred over 100 gutchas and didn't get dust at all. And it was a matter of, well, what do? I had to trade for my first dust gutcha. I couldn't breed one myself, I didn't have the time. And then I had to sit down and think about it. Basically what I wanted to do was, I produce Rexes, I produce creatures for boss fights that are, you know, quite decent, and I breed them en masse. Why wasn't I doing the same thing with gutchas? So here I go now, I'm just starting to pop them out, and any females I'll add to the breeding line. And if I have to bring 30, 40 females at a time to get those dust gutchas, I will. Now there's a little secret that I discovered. I looked everywhere on YouTube, I looked everywhere, Reddit and online, and I just couldn't find any way to produce dust gutchas to guarantee their production. And I looked and I looked and I looked, and I just couldn't find anything. And then one of my friends, a player on one of the servers, he actually mentioned something that got me to thinking. And what I needed to do was, okay, I'll science this out and see if it works, and it did. And now I have well over 10 dust gutchas on many of the servers. I've got one at least on every server I play on, so at any time if I need shards or if I need element, I can make it. I also use dust in my recipes, so I'll do a video on recipes and food and water down the track, but dust is an amazing ingredient in recipes. A big shout out to some of the guys who brought that to my attention a little while ago. Just avert your eyes now, poor little babies, but if they don't have what you want, get rid of them. That's my partner in the background playing on the island doing her solo thing. You might be able to hear her TV. I apologise profusely. Now, when the babies come out, there's a little trick to feeding and raising gutchas that I figured out. With most babies, you have to sit there and wait and feed them. Now, gutchas are the most amazing and easiest simple thing to raise on the Ark. So what you do is you get them all, you bring them over to a certain spot, and then you get a doty loaded with stone, and that doty, basically you just drop the stone out of it in front of the gutchers. Gutchers will eat anything, or almost anything. They won't eat poops, they won't eat certain things, but almost anything. So you can fill it with stone, and when they pick it up, they can carry more than their maximum weight. So weight doesn't matter on them. So what you can do is you can literally drop it in front of them, and they'll just keep picking it up and eating it until they're full grown. You load the babies up with enough food on them in the form of stone or whatever. I use stone because it's nice and handy. When they grow up, they instantly start producing. But I use stone because doties can hold a lot. And bottom line is you fill them up with stone, and you don't have to do anything about them again. You just walk away and come back in a day or two, and they're full grown. If you want to imprint them, you can. Breeders, I don't bother imprinting them. Now, you'd be wondering why all the levels are so low. Well, that's for a very specific reason, and I bred them on purpose that way. I took the highest level gutcher I could find and tamed it, and then went and tamed another high level and tamed another high level, and I got the stats that I wanted. I wanted really high food and really high crafting skill. So that food, basically so I can sit and forget them. If I don't get back to a server in a few days, I don't have to worry about it. And the crafting skill, so I can get better items out of them, and so on. Now, they nerfed the items, but we don't have to worry about that. You're still getting good items. What I want these gutchers for, though, is the dust. Crafting skill is great. When I get an item out of it, it's pretty good. But primarily, we're just talking about the dust. Now, those levels, they matter significantly, and you'll see why later. Let me bring these little guys over here. Come on. Okay, and as you can see now, I've got these babies all sitting in front of the doty. And I've got to be careful they don't starve. And now I just get the doty and drop all that stone out. And they'll pick it all up. Their weight is 500. It doesn't matter. If they pick it up after you throw it out, they can carry more than they can hold. And those doties, they won't move. The gutchers, they won't move. You can literally just load them up. Make sure you check the babies and make sure that they've all got an equal sort of amount, so they've got enough stone on them to survive. And here's the secret. Alright, so this is my first time editing, so bear with me. But as you can see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone them. And the reason the level is so important is the higher the level, the more it costs to clone it. So I wanted it as low a level as possible to reduce the cost of cloning, but I wanted to keep the crafting skill. I wanted to keep the food. The weight didn't matter because they'll pick up infinite amounts of weight. The health and everything don't matter because if someone can get to your gutcher, then it's dead anyway. You want the ability to produce them at a much lower cost. Now here's one I've already cloned, and you can clone a clone. So we're talking unlimited gutchers that produce dust. If you want 10, you can have 10. If you want 50, you can have 50. And every one that you clone, every one that you copy, increases your production exponentially. So they become free. Now this one is only costing 11,000. Instead of 24, 25,000, instead of 250 odd element, we're talking 110. That's a big difference. And I've loaded myself up to the shards. Now this one's a bit leveled. Don't level your gutchers before you clone them. if you level the arches before you clone them, they cost more. That's it. Piece of cake. Hope this helps everybody. Have a great time. More videos coming soon.